and I went to use the bathroom. It was very early in the morning, and I found that I didn't get to the bathroom. I collapsed on the floor. I found it strange because I couldn't move. I've never collapsed before. It was a strange situation. I wasn't drunk, and it only dawned on me that something was seriously wrong when two ambulance crew members came through my front door and were trying to get me onto a stretcher to bring me to an ambulance. That's when I realized something was seriously wrong.
Welcome back to yet another episode of Rawcaster. Thank you all for tuning in and also for your messages on Instagram following the previous upload of toxic family members. My thoughts go out to anyone currently dealing with this, and remember that your happiness and well-being comes first. Well, today I have a dear guest, a man who has influenced and inspired me, overcome great adversity, and is someone who I believe has a massive amount of knowledge to share. An avid boxer, a caregiver to many through his work with vulnerable children and adults, but most importantly to me, my father. Dad, it is great to have you on the show. First of all, how are you?
I'm well, thank you, Mars. And before I go any further, I must say that it's an honor for me to be invited here on this podcast today. And not only has it been one-way traffic where you might say I've inspired you, I have to say that you've been an inspiration for me. In terms of my health, if we're talking about health today, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't feel I needed to try to find an alternative way of dealing with the health challenge that I had. What I mean by that is, I realized that if I succumbed to what was expected of me, then it would be the continuation of a process that I didn't believe in. And that process was the status quo. This is what you need to do. This is what you should do. This is what you've got to do. And, you know, if I go back to the 70s, I don't know if it was the influence of the elders around me at the time, but fast forward, I'm someone who finds it difficult. I wouldn't say I'm disruptive, but I find it very difficult to just accept what I've been told by the so-called status quo. So I needed to leave a legacy for you. I needed to leave something where you would find out and seek for yourself the understanding of true health, not the Hollywood health or the YouTube health where you've got six pack and can jump up and down and do all kind of things, but I'm talking about real inner spiritual health. And so, without drifting away from the point, I would just like to say that I'm honored again and I'm inspired by you. And to see you now running your podcast in the way you do, I feel as if the baton has been passed on and you're doing a fantastic job. And I'm so happy. And thank you. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, Dad. I'm truly humbled and I'm glad to hear that your health is flourishing, as the focus of our conversation today will be health and alternative healing. Optimum health is crucial yet often neglected and not prioritised in this day and age due to various factors. Yet, I remember a period of time when your health was severely compromised. In 2001, after a tragic loss in your life, you was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. I remember as a child the impact that had on me, seeing my 6 foot father subdued to someone who could barely talk and couldn't walk. But before we touch on this area of your life, can you take us back in time to when you were your healthiest and fittest?
If I can take us back or take you back to a time when I was at my healthiest and fittest, I mean, where I am now in my life, when I go back, when I think back to a time when I was fittest and healthiest, I think that now, in this present moment, I'm at my healthiest and fittest. I mean, when I look back then, if it's in terms, if the question relates to um, my application to an activity, like, for example, I used to be an amateur boxer and I could demonstrate a variety of physical skills. I mean, things like jumping over barriers in the middle of the road without touching them, and running for miles and feeling okay, and doing X amount of press ups or other physical exercises. I used to swim a lot. I used to do a lot of rock climbing. Um, I think on a physical sense, I would say the 80s, the mid 80s to the mid 90s, I was at my physical fittest and healthiest. However, during I think it was 19, no, 2000, the year 2001. I mean, for me, that was a time when I really understood or began to understand what fitness and health really means. And I had to go through a process which I now look back on and see it as a process of enlightenment. But at the time, whilst I was going through this process, um, I didn't understand.